So in this stream, I'm going to do the part 3 of the Angular tutorials, and in this part, I'm going to tell about component binding, component and data binding. We're going to deep into component and data binding in this part. So I think we have around a minute. I think I started a minute earlier, so it's okay. So anyways, this is going to be there in my YouTube channel. So YouTube channel also, and this is live streamed on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitch. So you can find it out there. So let me start. Let me start sharing my screen and. And good. Yeah. So I'm sharing my screen. So this is a basic app. This is a basic Angular app which has got everything in one component. So this is a very bad design. Everything is there in a one component. So this app dot component dot html is there, and let me increase the font size a bit. Okay. So app dot component.html is there. Okay, so everything is there: a container, a row, a column, admin server, so blueprint, server name, input is there, type text. This is controlled by ng model to new server, and all these things. So and two buttons are also there. Okay, all these things are there, and after that, in if you go to app.component.ts, yeah, we have a server element, we have a new server name and new server content. So whenever we add server, it adds to the server element array, and add blueprint adds to it. So for a small app, it is okay, but we are going to learn how to divide it into different components and then how to communicate between those components. That's what we are going to do. So let's get started. And okay, if I am running it with ng serve, and this is what it is all about. Okay, so initially it shows like this, nothing is there. There was something earlier which was running sr1. This is a server, add server, add blueprint. Blueprint is blue and server is red. Okay, so it is like that, and so let's get started. And what we are going to do. Okay, so we are going to have different components. So for that, we will create component. So the best way is to create component is through the in Angular. It is always through command line. It's not like creating it right clicking Angular thing. No, because in Angular there is some other places also the component need to be mapped. Like it need to be need to go into this app module.ts. And if you do it manually, then you have to manually add it here. Okay, like this here. So it's always better to create a component through the command line. So let me open this. So change. Let me open the git bash. Have some error in git bash. So I am in the correct folder, component binding folder. So ng generate C for component, generate and component of C right, but it is you should give a short form because it is or it is prone to error to give a long form. Okay. So cop pick I will do, and similarly ng gc server element I will do server element and cockpit. Okay. So server element and cockpit I have done. So I close it. Come in, both of them will be treated with all the four files, and spec file is also there. We don't need it, but it's okay. So HTML, CSS, TypeScript, and spec file are there. Okay, so that is there. Now, what we are going to do is from the app component.html file, we are going to cut this div row from here. See this add server blueprint and add new server. A blueprint is there. Add new server blueprints, and this add server and add blueprint, and this all form is here. Okay, so this all form is here, and then this is all the other part which is been shown here. This is all the other part. So we have made two components for them. Okay. So like this, I will cut from here, row. I will cut it, and then uh, I will cut it, and cockpit component .html is there. Cockpit component .html. I'll put it here. Cockpit component .html. I put. Okay. A lot of things will break now. Okay, cockpit component .html. I have put, and then save it, and then app component .ts. I will come and from here this new server name, and this all these things I will cut. Okay, let me cut this, and this will go to cockpit. This fine. Come here, and it's better to put this the constructor. So see, we are getting error here only. See, the server elements it is not defined. The server elements, where is the server element? Server element is in the TS file, so it is not defined. So then also let me save it, and then also let me save it. Okay, the server element is not defined, and it is getting error. So we have to fix this issue. So now we move the rest of the part. So the rest of the part also it is like in the app component testing. The other part is this. So this one, this one is the other part. The panel and all which it shows. So we cut this, and the server component .html file we put it, save it, server element dot where is it? Yeah, server element .html file we put. Control A, Control Shift P, format selection. We have done, save it. And here, actually, we want to have a, it's not elements, it is element. So we are going to have only a single one coming here. So it is good to remove this ng for also. Ng for we don't need. So ng for also we remove and save it, and it is done. Okay. Now we'll add that component will come, and here now see everything is gone. Okay, everything is gone. So here the two things will come, app cockpit will be here, and the second one is app server element be there. Okay, that's a element will be there. And since we are not going to pass everything, means it will contain only a single element. So what we are going to do, we are going to have the ng for logic there only. Ng for let there is doing something, but it is not like this. And for if I come to my where is my app component, so component cockpit, where is my, so see, the server element is there. So this server element is the array. Okay, this server element I will come here, and I can give anything here. Right, it is like for of loop only. Okay, so like this it will go. Okay, so but the thing is that our app will crash. And so server elements it was not able to find. So to fix this, what we need to do cockpit dot, where is my cockpit dot ps file. So it is giving me enter here. So the best way is to now comment it out. Okay, comment it out. So we are just temporarily commenting it out. Okay, so commenting it out, and Now, now it is successful. Now it is successful. But nothing will work anyways. Okay, successful, but everything is broke. So we are accessing a single server element in server element as I have told. So server element component, we are accessing a single server element here. Okay, so in the TS file, see this single element is there. So in the TS file, we will create a element type. Okay? So element. So this element I'm not and this element. Okay, and this element. And let's just give some type because we're using types here. Anyway, we are not doing something strict. So type is there will be type. Type will be a string. Then there will be a name. Name will be a string. Then the content. Content will be a string. Okay, save it. So like this, it will be there. And now we will write it in the array of server elements in the app component.js. Okay, so this element will right there. So server elements now is blank. So let us do the same type there. So like this. Let us give one test data. That means the data which will be there for the when we load it initially. So that thing will be there. So let me do this, but anyways, I have to use a real name, not this thing. We are passing this thing actually. So so, okay, so it is server or blueprint. So there are two types. One is server and another is blueprint. So this is server. Okay, and then has one content is not everything should be same. Content is main server. So let it be like this. Now this we want to bind the element from our app dot component.html file. So bind the element from there. Okay, so see, this app.component.html is the parent component, and server is the child component. But we want to bind it from here, so that is what binding is about. So let me come here, and then let us make it a bit nicer. Element is equal to item. Save it. So when you're passing this element we are this is a parent component. So element we are making it equal to the item. So we are binding it. Okay. So but for the parent component to bind with the child component, it is not that easy. It will not even work. Whether it will give error or what, but it will not work. And if I inspect the console, it will give me an error. Cannot be property undefined. Element, it is not known there. Element is not known. In the app server element, it is not known. When I'm passing it, when I'm doing the binding, it is not known in the app server element. So how do we know it? But we are seeing that it is there. We have declared it here, but it is not known. So we need to put a decorator in front of this element, which is a input decorator. Okay. So input decorator, we have to put it in the server element component, and that decorator is like add input. And one thing to notice is that this happens when we are doing from the parent to the child. Okay, parent to the child binding. Okay, so input is taken here. Okay, input is taken here. It is very important for it to be there, and it is okay. And nothing else is required. Okay, now going back to the and see this main server is coming, and there is no error also. But the main server is something which was there where here it was there. Just dummy component. Dummy thing means initial thing, not dummy. The initial thing is there. Okay, the initial thing. Okay, so it has been done. So if you want to bind some data from a parent to the child, so this thing is very important. Parent to child, then you have to use add input because there is something known as add output also. Okay, so this add input is there. Then you try to bind from parent to child. Okay, so that is done. Now we want to implement now as I have told we will implement the other way. That is the changes in the child component will be passed to the parent component. So for that close this, we'll see the cockpit component. Okay, so this cockpit where it is, here is a cockpit, here is a cockpit. Okay, here is both the cockpits are there. Okay, so we will be in app component.html. We have to bind that thing. Okay, so here we go to bind the element. So first let us create it here, then we will go here. Okay, then the thing which we are going to bind is server created. So this variable we are going to create in cockpit. Okay, server created equal to on server added on server added event. On server added event, what is this? On server added is not created. We not created. Okay, on server added. Okay, we created some. Okay, on server added. It will be something which will be here. Okay, so server created is something which is there in the cockpit, which will be there in the cockpit, and it will be linked to some function which will be there in the app component, which we, both of them which are not created actually. So blueprint created equal to on blueprint added, and on blueprint added event will be there. And again we don't have this right now. Okay, so let's save it. And now in app component.ts, so let us first make this on server added and on blueprint added. Okay, and where is my copy? Okay. It is something like this one. So let us take this. The name is on server created and on server added and on blueprint added. Remove this. Remove this. Now, the thing is that it will receive some data. Okay, so we can directly put that here because this is anyway is not there. So it will receive a data known as server. Anything we can name it server data because the thing is that it is getting passed in from this event. So anything we can name it is server data, whatever. So let us give the type also. Though it is a TypeScript, we could have omitted it the TypeScript type because we are not doing something. Okay, server name is string, server content is string, server name is string, and server content is string. So server data is there. So what will be here? This will be server data dot server name and server data dot server content. Save it. So it will be both of these two. Okay, similarly, we'll have this as here also, but it will be named blueprint. We can name it anything, it doesn't matter. Blueprint data, and again, let me do it. Now, I'm going to do this. Blueprint data, server name, server content. Okay, so like this I'll do. Okay, save it. Okay, and it is done. Okay, so my app is not done. So in the component.ts file, we will go now component.ts component.ts file, and here, as we have already used that, we can look here. This server created and blueprint created have to be there. Okay, so because we were binding it from there, so actually, this thing is a bit challenging in React also. React also, we have to, from when we are going to do it from child to parent, it's a bit challenging there also. And it's a bit different here, not less challenging, but it's a bit different. Okay, equal to new event emitter. Okay, so here what happened, we have to do a new event emitter. So let me see. Oh, event emitter was not that. There is a very cool in Angular. If you click here, and if you click here, add event emitter, existing event emitter was imported. Okay, so the second one is blueprint created. Blueprint created equal to new event emitter. New event emitter I have done, and then see this on server on add server. This I have to remove it itself because we are not going to have it like this anymore. Okay, so we have to emit it, and one more thing we have to do, this thing we have to do it at output. Okay, so let us do that beforehand at output, as I was telling. No, there is no on. Okay, at output we have to do in such case, because we're emitting it, because we're emitting it from child to parent when it go, we emit it, that output I am doing, and then this on at server. So what I'm going to do, this, so here we have to emit it, this dot server created dot emit. So on at server generate on at server when it works, so there is a button is there, on at server works at that time. When the form I click on add server, on click on the button add server, then that on add server runs. Okay, then that on add server runs. So we are emitting, and when we are doing it, we are emitting it and not name. We are emitting it and server name. Server name we have done it, and this dot new server name. So new server name is nothing but whatever is there in our this ng model. Okay, ng model and new server name, whatever the user enters it, it is that one, new server name and comma. So we are sending this object server content equal to this dot new server content, like this. On blueprint also will be like similar, just the difference will be server created, it will be this variable blueprint created. Emitting is the same thing we are doing. Okay, so let me save it now. So I think everything is done, and we have to go back and let me refresh it once. SR2, this is me add server, add blueprint. But there is an issue with the blueprint. Okay, there is an issue with the blueprint. See, actually blueprint was coming blue, but it is not coming blue anymore. So this happens because in Angular what happens is every styles are localized. So initially it was coming from where? So initially it was coming from where is my CSS? It was coming from here. Okay, everything was in app component HTML, it was coming from here. But it is localized. Everything is localized here in Angular, which is a very good thing. Okay, because I know I have worked in bigger enterprise projects. What happens when everything is not localized, and first people usually do the same thing and it breaks thing, and it takes days to do these things, and you have to bring some even some CSS experts some of the time. Okay, so this I will copy. This I will copy, and this now we have to put it the server. Where is my server? Because it's coming from there. Okay. Okay. Server element component.css. How to put it? Save it. server is red, this is blue. Okay, so it is working exactly fine. Okay, now our app is done. Means we having successfully what we did, we a big component which we have taken and broken down into two components, and we're seeing both the example of input also means passing the data from a parent to child, and output also passing the data from child to parent. So those both things which we have done. Okay, now what is the other thing which we need to do? So what we are going to do, we are going to do one more thing. See, there is this ng model is there, so which is a preferred way, which should always be the preferred way when we want to bind the data. But there are some cases are required when the local reference is required, local reference. This thing is in React also, refs are used for that. So same thing is there in Angular also. So what I'm going to do, so we are going to see an example of that, how to use a local reference. So let me close this and cockpit component HTML. So we have two forms. One is the server name and one is that server content. Okay, so let us make this one where it is server name. Let me comment it out. So I've commented it out and we'll use a new way. Okay, so in put text class form control, and no ng is there. So we are going to see the other way around. So as I have told, so anything you can give, any server name input. So this is the way by which you get access to the DOM element. Any name you can give server name input. Okay, and whenever you click on this also need to be go. So for this to work, what we need to do, we need to come here and we need to pass it here at both the places, because both of them passes this. Okay, okay, so both of them I have to add it, save it, and then we will go to the cockpit component, and first you comment it out because we are not using Hackney anymore, and this will show us right, will show us red, these two things. So I mean the name, you can take any name. Actually like no means you can take any name. So that is, let me take name input any, maybe any is good way. Anyways it is not required. Okay. Name input, and just like HTML is name input dot value, name input dot value. We pass it name input value, name input dot value. Let me save it, and so now let me go where it is there. Let's see at all the places, no console errors. Here you should see console errors. Okay, no console errors. Okay, SR2, this is SR2, so everything is working fine. So with this we have completed today's chapter, and yeah, and so this was actually the day 4 of my 100 days of code and 100 days 100 video challenge. So this I am doing mainly because I am now a full-time JavaScript teacher, and I have many students to whom I teach this thing, teach everything HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React. Mainly I am a React guy. So, but I'm doing a corporate batch in which I'm teaching Angular also. I'm refreshing some of those things because I have worked throughout my career. Sometimes it's mainly the past 5 years, because that is the time when the Angular and React came. And Angular was before that also. So I kept on switching between Angular projects and React projects in my corporate life. So I know both of them. But I believe React is more powerful nowadays. If you want to get a job everywhere, you have to go with React. Maybe I will have some thing on my podcast regarding that. But there are many people who work in enterprise, who work in big service companies. They need to have that Angular knowledge. And because the projects are still the old projects, that sometimes the old projects in a new version. Suppose there is Angular JS project and the client want to convert it into Angular. So they need to have it converted into Angular. They will not go with React in this case. They will go with Angular. Even their developers are Angular, and so Angular is used a lot nowadays. Also, any service companies, big companies, you will go service companies mainly. You get three React projects, then one Angular project. Angular project will be there, but Angular project will be there. Vue projects are very less. Vue is hardly used in startup world, but startup world also it is startup world is 100% React, not even 1% Angular, 100% React. And the bigger fan companies are also 100% React. Only in the case of Google it is Angular because Google created Angular. Okay, so that is about that. We will discuss about it later on. Yeah. So what I was telling, I am doing this because a lot of my students are doing 100 days of code challenge. I want to morally support them. And teachers should morally support his or her students to do something, and I am supporting them by myself also going through the grind. It is not easy. It is one of the toughest challenge on this planet. 100 days, 100 code. You can take only one day break after 15 days. And I have added twist to it, and I have made it even more complicated and more challenging for me with giving the 100 days of, with joining the 100 days of videos or whatever it is called. It is the 100 days of week, something like that challenge. So for me, I do coding. I have been coding for the last 10 years. It is not a challenge for me. I do daily coding. So I can do, I can finish 100 days of code challenge 100 times. So that is not a challenge, but the challenge is to create 100 videos. It's a very big challenge. I've never done it. I only produce hardly 3 videos a week. So this is a challenge, and this is a very big challenge for me. And challenge accepted, and it will benefit a lot of things. So not only Angular, because if you go through my channel, I got more React stuff also there, and HTML JavaScript stuff is also there. React Native is there. Sometimes I've done Flutter, but I won't do in the future because still I want to concentrate on React Native. If I want to concentrate more on React ecosystem, so maybe in the future some React Native videos will come, but not Flutter anymore. So React Native will be there. Okay. So do please subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed, and do follow me on my journey of 100 days of code, 100 days, 100 videos channel. Thank you, and I will end